According to the preliminary plan of the European Commission, profits from investing frozen Russian assets will be transferred to a special fund and stored there until the EU countries unanimously agree to use them. The Financial Times writes about this, citing a senior official in Brussels. Such a mechanism will comply with treaty obligations as well as with international and European law, it said in the draft agreement.
We welcome the fact that EU member states were able to reach agreement in principle on this proposal. This is an important step forward, and the ultimate goal is to be able to transfer proceeds from frozen Russian assets to Ukraine. EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy Josep Borrell and the Vice Presidents of the European Commission are ready to prepare the next step in this matter as soon as possible.
The EU has frozen more than 200 billion euros of assets of the Russian Central Bank. Moreover, 191 billion euros are stored in an international depository organization located in Belgium. Some European countries, in particular Belgium, have proposed introducing a tax on frozen funds. As a result, they should bring Kyiv about 3 billion euros a year. According to the Belgian finance minister, the European Union will be able to conclude an agreement on the application of income taxes.
That's also already something that we do also on these revenues at the Belgium level, of course, just with the company tax that is on these proceeds. Another question is, of course, the question of confiscation of these frozen goods. There, I think that we should, of course, be very prudent. That we, of course, also need to look at the global level, G7 level, what can be done. But for us, it's important that it's legally sound. What the proposal that comes on the table. And also that we take into account the risk for any impact on the financial stability.
Belgium was the first in the world to start using frozen assets of the Russian Federation in favor of Ukraine. Brussels has created a separate fund where it transfers taxes on profits from Russian assets in the country. From the period from 2022 to 2024, the sum amounted to 1.7 billion euros. At the same time, the G7 countries are still agreeing on the legal framework for the confiscation of frozen assets in favor of Ukraine. In particular, as Reuters writes, on January the 30th, British Investment Minister Dominic Johnson discussed this issue with the US Deputy Secretary of the Treasury, Wally Adeyemo.
These are clearly unique times, but it is imperative to ensure that any move is well coordinated internationally, and there are still important legal details to work out. Dominic Johnson, Minister of State for Investment, in a comment to Reuters.
On January the 23rd, a US Senate committee approved a law that will help create the conditions for the complete confiscation of Russian assets by the United States and transfer of them to Ukraine. If the bill is passed by Congress and signed by President Joe Biden, it will pave the way for the first ever confiscation of assets of the state's central bank, with which the United States is not at war. Washington's proposal has already been supported by the G7 countries, Great Britain, Japan and Canada. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Христина Домбровська, UATV News.